I'm Nick Mowry with DIGN Homes. We are a manufactured home service and install company, and today we're going to be doing a re-level on one of my clients' properties. Re-leveling a home is super important if you're a manufactured home owner. It helps with the stability and safety of your home, and it's something you should have done probably every 5 years. There's a lot of reasons why a home can become unlevel. Reasons like just natural settling. Water is a big issue if your home has a leak underneath of it or the grading isn't done properly, causing water to get underneath of it. It can cause the piers to settle and the home to become unlevel. Things that can, you might notice with a home being unlevel is just the way it feels. Two, you might start seeing some cracks in the walls, and the doors might be harder to open and close. And so those are some things that you might want to, if you start noticing them, you might want to hire someone to come out and re-level your home. I've already been out to the house that we're going to be going to, so the home for the most part is all level. Most of it is within a 1/4 inch of each other. It's really just the master bedroom where the home has dipped about a 1/2 inch or 1.5 inches in this one area. And so while the people are sleeping, they kind of feel like they're rolling and they've had to shim their bed up. So we're going to get that kind of fixed for them. In this particular home, they've added a lot of extra weight in their house. They've added a lot of shiplap. They've added a new tiled bathroom. They have a big freezer in there. And all this extra weight, I think, has caused the house to settle in certain areas. And that's why they're having this problem. So not only are we going to re-level the house in that area and bring it back up, but we're probably going to also add additional piers in these different areas where there's been added weight to offset, the weight that the current piers are taking on. Okay, and that will help reduce the settling in the future. All right, so when we get over there, I'm going to show you guys, that particular area. I'll show you how I can see how it's unlevel using a laser level. Then we're going to go outside and get the material all ready, and I'll show you the different configurations of piers that we're going to be using. We're going to be using block piers, and in Arizona, there's a certain way that they have you do it. And then I'm also going to show you the different tools that we're going to use, and then we'll go underneath the house. We'll kind of get it all set up, and then we'll have it all level, and these people will be good, and we'll recheck it and make sure that it's all level in the end with the laser level. All right, so I'll see you guys over there and show you how we get this done. Okay, this is the master bedroom that needs the re-level. You can see the laser level is set up, and I'm going to measure from the floor to the laser line. The first measurement I'm going to take is a side that needs to come up, and it measures at 46 inches. The wall I'm at now is measuring 45 3/8. This is the base wall. It measures the same towards the end of the house as well. Measuring on this side of the bed, it also measures 46 inches. All right, before we get underneath the house, I wanted to show you guys the different types of pier configurations that we're going to be using. This one over here is probably more standard. We've got a 16 by 4 by 16, so this will give you your pad. We're going to use a level and make sure this is level first. Then we can stack the 8 by 8 by 16s. In this case, we can do 2 caps, and these caps are 2 by 8 by 16s. And then we have shims, okay? Now, if you needed to get an extra 4 inches, in this case, I don't have an 8 by 4 by 16 solid, so we're allowed to use 2 pads if we wanted to. Okay, the other thing over here, another type of configuration that we might be able to use, it's a little bit smaller, just showing you, you only have to go with 1 8 by 8 by 16 if you needed to, and you can go with 1 cap, okay? And then over there, we're just showing you can have 2 caps on as well. So these are kind of more or less the standard configurations we're probably going to go in today, and we're just going to be adding some more support where we can. And then as far as materials go, what are we going to be using? What kind of tools, I should say, what are we going to be using? We've got our bottle jack here. This is probably a 20 or 30 ton bottle jack. Has a special adapter on it so it doesn't crush the beam underneath. We got some wood here that we're going to put underneath the jack so we can get, because this jack's probably only going to end up going about this high. So we can put wood underneath of it to get a little bit higher if we need to. We got our level here. We got this as well. Okay, we're going to use this to level the pads. All right, and then we've got, I've got my light here we're going to be using, obviously, and then we've got the laser level, and we're going to use a regular tape measure to make sure that we get to the height that we need to be at. Okay, so I'm going to go underneath there right now. Well, one more thing, we also have a hammer, right? So the hammer is just going to be used for the shims and stuff, hammering the shims in place where they need to be. So we have 2 access points, this one and one behind. I'm going to go inside there right now. We're going to set the laser up. And then I'm probably going to go drop in the other side and go in over there, because it's a pretty far crawl all the way over there, especially if I got to bring any of this kind of blocks and stuff with me, because these are pretty heavy. This bottom one alone is like 70 pounds. So yeah, so I'll probably drop in over there, see if I can just level it without using this stuff. But if I feel like I need this, I'll go bring it underneath to give it more support over there. All right, I'll show you guys when we get underneath. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're going over there. You can see that there are missing shims on that pier over there. So I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna hammer some shims in over there and get that done first. As far as levelness goes, it is level over there, so I don't have to worry about jacking it up. I just gotta get the shims inside there so it's being supported. Like I said, right now I'm crawling over to the pier that doesn't have a shim on it at all. The shim must have fallen out at some time. So whenever we're working on releveling a home, we're also always going to add shims to piers that aren't touching the beam. All right, that part's done. Now we just got to go over to the other side and bring that up, and we'll set the laser level up. Okay, well, the homeowners had another place I can go get into, and so that's where I'm at right now. It is right in their patio. So where their patio is at, they had another access, which is much closer to where I have to go. So I'll take you guys down there. So coming down here. Okay, so we're under the house. This right here, this is the patio that we're under. And right there where that beam's at, that's going to be right underneath of the master. That's what we need to start bringing up, which is super close. So I'm glad that we're right here. So what I think we're going to do is I'm just going to get the jack. I'm going to put right there, and I'm going to use a tape measure, and I'm just going to pop it up 1 inch. And then I can go back upstairs into that where the master's at and see if I got it to where it needs to be. That's one way to do it. Otherwise, the other way you could do it is if I set the laser level up and I crawl back over that way, I can measure down from where that beam is from that other entrance, and then measure from here and see where that beam is hitting. So I'll try that too. I'll show you guys how we can do both, and I'll get that stuff set up, and then I'll show you how to get it back on. Okay, you can kind of see now that I've got the laser set up right here, and it's shooting that beam out all the way across the bottom like that. And so what I'm going to do is I can measure down from where the beam's at to where it hits the laser, and that's where I need to bring it up 1 inch. But I'm going to have to go over there first and measure over there where that other entry is, because that's kind of where the base point's at. That's the height we want to be at, and I can measure from the beam in that location. So I'm going to go over there first, measure from there, and then we'll know we'll have to bring it 1 inch up from where it is over there. Okay, so this is about where we need to be. That's like right at 2 1/4. 2 1/4 right there. That's where the laser's hitting. So that's what it needs to be over there. Because this right here, this is like the base point. So we're gonna go back over there, we're gonna see where we're at, and then we're gonna get that side to read 2 1/4, shim it up, and we should be good as far as that goes. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the jack in place. And generally you wanna get it as close to the pier as you can. But in this case, there is a brace behind the beam that you can't see, and it will not allow me to get any closer with this type of jack attachment. The second thing I'm going to do is check the measurement. I'm going to see how far I need to come up. And I believe it's about 3/4 of an inch right here. If you look at the jack stand to my left as I'm raising the jack, you can see it's been raised about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that does look good. That's where it needs to be. But I can already see that we've got at least 1, 2, 3 piers not touching now. That one right there is questionable. I'll have to check that. And then this one's not going to reach, so I'll probably grab a new pier. We're going to put a new pier here. We'll put another one there. So we're going to add at least 2 more piers right here to secure it. Might be able to still use that one. I'll just put another 2x8 there plus some shims just to use it. But we'll have 2 new ones on both sides right here. All right, let me go out there and see how level it looks inside. Okay, I just went back up there and we're about a 1/2 inch still too low. So in this spot right here, I'm going to put another pier right here. And then we can let this down. And I'm going to probably, get that one up a little bit more too. And then we're going to move down this way a little bit and jack it up a little bit more over here, get it higher, and then we're going to go back up and take a look. But we should be pretty close after that. So a couple things I didn't mention. At this point, I only raised the home in one location. It can't be expected that it's going to fix the levelness of that room. So I need to adjust at least 3 locations here to get this wall back to level. So I'm going to go ahead and build a pier right here to stabilize that area. So once this pier is set up, I'm going to move the jack closer to the next pier. On this concrete cast pillar, since I raised the house, it no longer touches the pier, so I added a 2x8 and then shims. Now I do believe that only shims are allowed with this type of pier. I didn't want to waste the current pier, so I added an additional pier next to it to take its place. You don't see that here, but I end up doing that before I leave. As I continue jacking the home up, I'm measuring the beam to see how close I am, and then I'm hammering in the shim so it stays in place. Okay, so I'm over here right now, and we're about, I don't know, let me see here really quick. I don't know, 1/2 inch over here, so I gotta keep bringing this up. Same in this area. As I continue jacking the home up, I'm going to continue measuring it, and then I'll hammer in the shims so it stays in place. Should be good, hopefully. Go up there and go take a look. So here I am measuring the room for the final time. It now measures 45 and 5/8 in this corner. Here it's 45 and 3/8. And then 45 and 5/8 here too. So right here, which is over the beam, it's measuring 45 and 3/8. And that's right where we need to be. That's what we were measuring. So I believe really the problem is that the exterior decking is kind of pulling, the edge of the home down a little bit. So I'm not going to be able to get that at the exact 45 and 3/8 as well. Okay, so I'm back from that re-level job, and you didn't get a chance to see everything in the end, but I ended up checking the levelness with the with a 4-foot like bubble level, and it turned out that everything on there was completely level. It did kind of fade off in the very end, but that's not where the beam's at. I think the decking is kind of pulling it down a little bit, but it was exactly 45 and I think it was 45 and 3/8 right there, and then when I went against the wall, it was also 45 and 3/8. So that worked out perfect. It dropped off like a 1/4 inch from that beam where the beam was to the end of the house due to I think it being attached to the decking. I ended up going back underneath, grabbed the rest of the stuff, and when I was down there, I just built another pier too, right where we were. The other piers were. I built another one right there, so just to give it a little bit more stability and a little bit more strength in that area, because there's probably a lot of weight there because of that decking. And so it turned out really good. They could tell the difference when they were walking out. They're like, yeah, we can tell that it is now level. They understand that why it kind of fades off there in the very end, but there's nothing I can do about that unless we unattach the decking, and then that should come back up, and then reattach the decking, and that might work. But otherwise, everything was good. The house is completely level. That re-level job was kind of a small one. Again, it was just that bedroom. That one took about, I don't know, it was about 3.5 hours to do that one. It was a lot of moving the blocks around, and it was, a little bit harder to get under there because literally you had to crawl all the way to where you had to go. A lot of times there's no decking and it's the vinyl skirting. That goes much quicker and it's much more access. I could just take all the skirting off and it's right there, and you can go all the way down. So it makes it a little bit easier. Well, again, that's a re-level job. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, or if you yourself need a re-level job, reach out to us here at DIGN Homes. You can either message us or just give us a call at 480-235-0699. Thank you.